Hello, beautiful people. Wonderful day. Um, yeah, it's actually really nice weather outside. Um, yeah, I just did this video, actually still uploading right now about like anger management, and because I was reminded recently about somebody having some issues with that, and so I just thought like give my 2 cents on that and how I dealt with it, what I've learned from it, and but as I talked about this, and yeah, you should look at the other video too, how to deal with like fighting, if you're in a relationship with fighting or something like that, or you just feel that you're like shouting a lot at people and you don't like it, then I would definitely look at that video and maybe it will help you how to deal with that. But basically, to do that, you have to understand love too, and for me, um, there was a point in my life where it was actually when I like just when I became Christian. Like I was like a vegetarian for like a year, and um, yeah, it started when I was like I had a horse and took care of the horse, and it just felt like wow, it's just weird. I'm taking not putting all this effort into taking care of these horses and my own horse, and like I'm eating cows and stuff. They're pretty much the same thing, and I just felt like well, let me just try if I can like go without meat for a while, just see how if it works, if I can do it. And actually, it was pretty easy. I didn't really miss it much. The only thing miss are like the little sausage breads. I really like them. And yeah, for the rest, it was pretty easy. I could like have other foods that were like replacement foods, and yeah, it went pretty well. So after a year, actually, I started going to like this Bible group, and I became like I learned about. Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much a believer already for a couple of years, but I didn't know anything. And they teach me everything. And at one point, they gave me a Bible, and I said the Bible had like a leather cover, or it looked like a leather cover, but and I was like, so I took it home. I didn't say no, of course, but I could have done that too. But I just went home and I took it, and before I started reading it, I prayed to God. I said, well, God, sorry, this is like a letter Bible, I don't know, but sorry, it's a gift for me, so I'll accept it. And I had this whole thing, and then at the moment I did that, I felt this love of God just come down on me, like boom, on me, and through me, and then boom, it went throughout the world to like every living thing on the world, every living thing, and it was pretty amazing feeling, and yeah, and I think that stayed for me for a while, and it's probably still with me, and it's just God's love for everything, and for all His creation, and He loves everybody, every little bee, every little flower, every ant, and every life, everything that's alive, He loves, the whole creation He loves, and so, but that also means that I mean people make mistakes. So even people that make mistakes, you know, because you wouldn't have find anyone to love if you would like look at people and their mistakes. There wouldn't be many people left if you would be thinking like that. But if you love everybody unconditionally without looking at their bad behavior, and because of I mean this is a bit going deep into it, but like that's why you have Jesus sacrifice, so like we actually are forgiven for our sins, so when God looks at us, He doesn't look at somebody who is bad. He looks at somebody who, like His Son Jesus, paid the price for, and absolved from all His sin, and even like, and just is forever, So you see, like a Christian, I mean, that's like look at George Floyd, right? George Floyd, and there's this moment where he just like kisses the ground. You can see just it's like he knows he's gonna die. Like he's telling him, this guy, like you're killing me, and he's just not listening. And he just kisses the ground, and he's calling out to his mama because he know he's gonna die. And I don't know why exactly. Why I can't tell you why he kissed the ground, but he's probably saying like, well, goodbye world, something like that, or maybe he's thinking like, well, God, if you're gonna take me today, then this is it, or so. I don't know what's going on in his mind, but he kisses the ground like he's saying goodbye to this world, and but um, I just lost my mom, and so for me the realization is that my faith is that my mom was baptized, and although she was severely mentally ill, she did do that. So yeah, I think I believe now that, and I know that she's in heaven, and yeah, and that's a very important thing for me. And I know that George Floyd also was converted. He's done a bad lot of stuff in his life. When he went to jail, but he also he tried to change his life. That's why he went to this other city, and he really wanted to change his life. And I think that, and this is how God sees us. Like He looks at us, He knows that we're imperfect, and sometimes we've done really bad things. Like this Floyd has did some really bad things, but uh, I know that He's in heaven now, because it doesn't really matter what He had done, because those sins are forgiven. And yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Well, um, talk about love, because um, yeah, unconditional love is like I said, is without conditions. It's not about this other person, what he or she is doing, or how they are behaving towards you or to anybody anyway at all. It's all about you just loving that person, even maybe they have been, they're a bad person sometimes. They've done some really bad things. It's like you just love them. And for God, it really actually doesn't matter if it's a small thing or a big thing, because God is so pure and perfect that even the smallest of things, it's just like, unless He forgives you for it, you can be this perfect person doing everything perfect all the time. You need that forgiveness, and it's only because of that forgiveness that you can go to heaven. And so as Christians, because that forgiveness, and it's not dependent on on it's not dependent on anything except for like the sacrifice that has already been done, and as choosing to follow Christ. So if you call yourself a Christian, like George Floyd does, and I did, and my mom does, like we have, like you, it's like George George Floyd is, he died there. He went from this place, but he knew he was going to go to another place, you know. And my mom is also in that place. And if you become a Christian, you can also go to that place. And that's like one of the biggest reasons to even contemplate and think about what this whole Christian thing is about, because you might miss out at something like really really important, like eternal life, and not even to consider it, because you think that, oh, that cannot be, it's nonsense, I don't believe in there being some more than what I can see. You could really like, yeah, you could miss out on something really 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 great, and yeah, so why say no, and not even try it or think about it or look at it or do anything about it, um, if you really got nothing to lose by just spending some time looking at it and thinking about it, and well, you have so much to gain, you have like eternal life to gain, um, and yeah, and that's the way God looks at things. Like he doesn't look at us as, he knows that we are imperfect, we're human beings. Look at like a beekeeper looking at his beehive. Do you think that the beekeeper looks at his, looks at his bees, he knows they're imperfect. They're not as smart as him. They know they make, maybe they're very aggressive bad bees. They try to sting him, but he thinks, well, like they're bees. Let them be. Like they want to protect their hive. So. Uh, uh, so if a bee stings him, he's not going to exterminate the whole hive just because of that one little bee that stung him. So, and that's like how God looks at us. He knows that we are human, and we're driven by our emotions most of the time, and our desires, and those bring us to places. They're not always the best places. We can even bring us to despair, or become aggressive, or do so. So yeah, I think that's how God looks at us. So he loves us like unconditionally. There's not a condition of our behavior with that love. It's not conditioned on our behavior, and I think that's sometimes what is missing um, uh, from preachings. Like beloved. We talk about Jesus. We say, well, he forgave our sins. He, you're forgiven, and you have to. You ask forgiveness. You're heaven. You can go to heaven. To tell the story, and then 5 minutes later, you're it's like an eye for an eye. So. Um, and that's no whole another talk. That's talk about religion. And the thing about religion is that religion can actually it's this very destructive force. You know, Religion is looking at like old rules, like the Old Testament, and then applying them to now without regarding what Jesus said about them in the New Testament. So, like when you have like the woman that is like adulteress, they throw her in front of him, and he says, well, whoever is innocent, let them like start hurting this person, and they knew that none of them was like innocent, so they didn't. And then he said, well, I am not going to do it either, although he was innocent. He could have done it, but he also said, well, I'm not going to do it. And then he said, he just said, well, don't do it anymore, you know. And she was able to go away, and she survived, because she would have been killed. And this is like one of the major things where Jesus shows us um, that we can just judge other people about their imperfections, but look at our own imperfections. You know, maybe those men that walked away, they weren't adulterous, but there must have been some reason why they felt that they weren't good enough to actually judge her, and start throwing a rock that eventually will let her die, because everybody else would have thrown rocks, and then she would have died. And nobody thought, well, I'm gonna be the one who starts that, because actually I've done bad things too. So so if you look at that way, that when God gives us loves us unconditionally, we can also try and love unconditionally. Don't look at a person's history, don't look at George Floyd's history, but look at how he was, or what he was trying to be even, or what he became. He became, he was forgiven by God. So, and hopefully he would have been successful in not going back to all those bad things he done before. And we have to like hope for that and give people a chance to do that. Yeah. That's kind of like what unconditional love is. And if you have that, then also like the anger problem I talked about in like the other video, it makes a lot more sense. Because if you love somebody unconditionally, it doesn't really matter if they are stepping in on your toe, or stealing candy from your candy jar, or doing anything bad, whatever bad they are doing to you. You will want to show them that unconditional love before you show them anything else, because yeah, that other way of dealing with it, and showing like being anger is actually being, it's like not that it's not unconditional love. Having anger for somebody is not, that's the opposite of having unconditional love, you know. And then you forget that you are also a person who makes mistakes, and that you also need somebody to maybe not be angry with you when you have done something wrong. And if we all behave like that, that we are more forgiving when we are the ones that are being wrong done to, then we also will maybe be the receivers of that behavior from other people, you know. It's like goes both ways. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna go all out when I feel that somebody has done something wrong, and hopefully they won't do the same on me. You know, to give me some leniency. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna keep it short. That's like basically, yeah, the love part. We need love too, uh, and that will help us with like yeah, how we deal with like anger, and yeah, eventually yeah, just yeah. I mean, do we have the right? Did those people have the right to condemn this woman? That's what was Jesus was saying. Did they have the right to throw a rock at her while they have done all those other things that they have done wrong? Because no, they didn't. You know, because although if anybody would have known one of those things, they might have also had some severe punishment, or some punishment, or the people would look down on them. But because she was the one there, and she was the one that everybody was looking at, and were able to say, well, hey, let's punish this woman because we know that what she has done wrong. You know, she just was just unlucky, but they were all sinners. You know, and yeah, I think that's how we should deal with that. And if we don't, if we're gonna see people as just as trespassers, as people who are like hurting you or are doing bad things that need to be punished, then you get people like the guy who killed George Floyd, who was so uncompassionately with him and loving with him, and didn't listen to him, his pleas didn't take him seriously, and he probably knew that what he was doing, kind of. I don't know. It's hard to even believe that somebody would do that to somebody knowingly, but yeah, I don't know. He was either like really completely out of his mind or something. I don't know what was going on with this guy. And yeah, maybe it was a racist thing where he was like, and it's funny because not funny, but there's something that happened like maybe 1 or 2 weeks before. Like I had this dream, and I woke up and it was kind of a bit scary, and there was this sound, this like rock music, like this German rock, like dun, 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 and dun, 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 dun. And there was like this like red ground, like desert, and there was like this flag, and it was like it had like the hooks, you know, like it wasn't like the and it reminded me of like neo-Nazis or something, you know. So I woke up and said, what God gave me this dream, and I was like, whole week I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, like what's going on? Is something bad gonna happen? What's within the Nazis, you know? So it kind of woke me up for like looking at these things, and yeah, being aware that of course these things do happen, and there are people that are yeah, I mean neo-Nazism. That's actually, those are people that actually they're really like there to hurt other people. They're not just, I mean, you can be racist and just like being like stupidly racist, where you say racist stuff, you know, but neo-Nazis actually want to hurt people. And I don't know what's going on in this guy, why he killed like George Floyd, but like his there was some this guy, this it's just really really weird how, with how much hate or disdain or like carelessness he handled George. And yeah, it's really boggling me. And I know of course that in like, yeah, like everywhere, like there are people like that. There are like in these neo-Nazis running around, and yeah, we have to be aware of that. But I think that that pure hatred, I mean that, and that's just hatred for other people, you know. And we have to be very aware if you start to hate somebody because of their color of skin, if you start to hate people because of their different ideology, or their different religion, then, or their different like sexual preferences, or sex even, like they're different, like if you're a man hating woman or woman hating men or whatever. It's just also, it's just, I mean, first of all, like one man is not the other guy. Like maybe there's some bad guys, and there's some bad women, and maybe there's some bad like people from this race, and they're neo-Nazis. Sure, they're really bad people there, but doesn't mean that every white person is like that. Like, and if as soon as you like um, stop distinguishing between uh, like yeah, like very small tiny group of neo-Nazis, and like all of white people, and all white people are bad and stuff, and they're all, they're all doing things to hurt us, um, then you are actually might go the other way. Like if you start to believe that stuff, and then you yeah, how uh, I mean, you have to be careful that it doesn't turn to hate, for a whole group of people. I mean, you hate Nazis. I hate Nazis. I mean, give me a gun, give me a Nazi. I mean, now, I know that's really bad what I'm saying, but like the Germans, like what they done to those Nazis that like were in the death camps, the Jewish death camps. Man, if I would have like been an American soldier in 1945, and I would have been one of the soldiers that found those death camps and those neo-Nazis there, and I've seen with those what they've done to those Jews. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if well, I'm too good of a person, but like just lock all those Germans up in one of those, and just you know what I mean. It's like, but yeah, then again, it's hatred, but they kind of like deserve that. What they've done was really really bad. They actually killed like 6 million Jews, and I don't know if that George Floyd was also killed pure from that like racist view. Could be. Uh, Maybe that officer just was blinded because of every day he had to deal with people that were like resisting arrest, that he had to arrest, people that were, most of them were felons, and people that had done bad things, and and uh, and he just didn't have the compassion anymore for that. And maybe he had he was just racist. That's yeah, that's a sad thing that could actually be one of the things. And I mean, like um, and I think we are very like, racism is something that sneaks in really quickly. I mean, if you are hurt by somebody, then we have, it's our instinct actually. It's like an instinct. Let's say I mean, I've done this example before. Like let's say you're like a group of little bunnies, and suddenly like an eagle sweeps away one of those little bunnies. You're not gonna like eagles very much, are you? Because they took away one of your. Now there might be nice eagles, well probably not because you're a bunny, but uh, maybe there's some tame eagles that wouldn't kill bunnies. I don't know, but basically it's inherently for any living creature that if they experience something bad from another creature, that when they come across another creature that has the same um, appearance, that we might get scared, we might get aggressive, we might get upset, we might feel that, oh, that eagle will also take my bunny, well, will take one of us, or will take me, so yeah, it's not so racism is actually very kind of like obvious thing. When you deal with people, we have to consciously be aware of that. Not that we, I mean, as humans we are intelligent. Like if you're like a cat and one dog bites you, you're going to be afraid of every dog you see for the rest of your life, right? Especially if it really really hurts you really bad. you're just gonna be afraid of other dogs, and you probably should, because apparently the dogs in your neighborhood, they're not nice to cats. But as a human being, if you get bitten by a dog, like if you start to kick or hurt or run away from every dog you see, then it's understandable, definitely understandable, because you had this bad experience with this one dog, right? So your body, your whole mind, when you get triggered, like when you see this dog, you get like I was, I got, I got a love bite on my like ankle from this little animal. This little dog was biting me in the ankle, when I was like a postman, I was delivering mail, and and I told this lady, I said, like, look, your dog just bit me in the ankle. Now, uh, I probably wasn't bleeding or anything, but yeah, he was really biting me in the ankle. Now, if that would have been like a very aggressive attack where I would have been bleeding or whatever, you get, yeah. I mean, I always loved dogs, but I've had, the way some dogs now have been treating me, like when I was like postman, I look a bit different at dogs now. Like I'm like, well, they might not always be that nice. But so it's like your interactions with the world will depend how you will, what your expectations are. So like, I'm never ever gonna apologize for what this guy has done. I mean, he's a monster. But the thing is that if I always try to empathize with people, because I want to know what went wrong. I don't want this to happen to another like George Floyd. I don't want this to happen to. I don't want more cops to do this, be this stupid. What was wrong with this guy? Was he really just racist, a bad guy, maybe a sociopath, psychotic, whatever? Did he had like some PTSD where he was like had bad arrests? What was wrong with this guy? And like if you're a person that likes to find answers or understand things like me, then that's more important, because that answer to that could prevent more deaths. You could prevent more people getting hurt. So, and that's why I'm happy that there are going to be some programs eventually that will deal with this kind of like these arrests, and you know and like look out um, for racism and all this stuff. I mean, if they're racist cops, then they should be like found out and just get canned.